Hey everyone, welcome back to another Inner Sleuths live stream. Today, me and one of the other sleuths, TK Seaton, are bringing you a lot of information that's going to be covering our clan that we're making in PAX Day, the Order of the BloodBrothers. This is Season 1, Episode 7 of PaxCast, and we're going to be basically just giving a generalized idea of how you can apply, what our plans are going forward, the server we're going to be on, all kinds of information about the upcoming release for PAX Day, which is in 2 days. It's going into early access. You can currently get it through playpaxday.com, and you can acquire there's basically 3 packages and 2 ways you can go about purchasing the game for this early access. You can get it directly through their launcher, which you'll basically download their launcher, install the game through their own launcher, and log in with your account. And once the game goes live, it'll automatically activate for you. There will be preloading if you're using their launcher, from my understanding. For everyone else who would like to get it on Steam, I ended up getting it on Steam just because I like to keep track of my playtime and all that stuff. It's, some people like Steam, some people don't, so I think everybody uses Steam. But if you'd like to get on Steam, there will not be a preload as far as I know, because of the way Steam works with early access releases. But on the 18th, you will be emailed a key that you will then redeem on Steam like you would any other Steam key, which will then allow you to proceed to download it and get everything all set up and good to go. So people who are on Steam, we may be a little bit behind. I wish they didn't do a preload. I wish it was a fair play field, but we may be a little bit behind the people who are playing on the launcher. Right out the gate, I want to let everyone know that we're going to be playing on the Danu RP server, which is the US East realm. The servers go live at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time in the US. So you can convert that to whatever your time zone is to know when it's going to be going live in your region. The only thing that we're not really too sure about just yet is where we're going to be settling. This is a very hot topic of everyone who's been taking part in the discussion over on our Discord. So if you'd like to voice your opinion and join the BloodBrothers, make sure you first and foremost join our Discord server. From there, you'll find links over to our application page on our website. You're seeing part of my website right here, which is a post I made about the ranks that we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, we're not too sure where we're going to be settling just yet. I really like the province of Caries and the zone of Tremin, but I've heard that that's going to be very, very populated. It's of my opinion that every single zone is going to be highly, highly populated, so I don't see it really being an issue. What they're going to be doing is, once a zone fills up population-wise, based on how many plots or how many players are in it, they're not going to allow new players to spawn there. It doesn't mean that new players can't go there and then still settle there. It just means it's going to not be as easy because you can't just drop right into Tremin. The resources look pretty good around Tremin. I think the area is beautiful. All 3 of the way gates are up in the top right corner. So it looks very ideal, and I think that's why it's going to be very populated. But us playing on a RP server, again, the Danu RP server, it may be a little less populated. I'm not too sure. For our clan, we plan on doing a very light-hearted roleplay, softcore RP, if you will. We're not going to be talking like our characters or anything like that. I will be assuming the role of my character, making decisions based on how I think that person in that era would actually make decisions, how I want my character to be portrayed and stuff like that. That's the level, that's the extent of the RP that I go to. Some people go further, some people go less. It's all perfectly fine. I want to go into, most of this episode of PaxCast is going to be going into the ranks to give you guys a very good idea of the rank structure. And again, this is all just our first iteration of it. I did most of this last night. I finally decided to go with 2 branches for the ranks. We have the military branch and the diplomatic branch. But first and foremost, again, make sure you check out our website. If you'd like to apply, you can join our Discord. Go over to the website. There's an application process. I might even be able to pull this up really quick and show you. I know the website's kind of cut off on the sides because I have it set up to show that our ranks there. But let me pull up the application template. Here's the application template. You can find this on the website. You basically come in here, you copy this in the middle. After you sign up on the website, in the top right, you'll be able to register. You'll copy this. You will go back to the forum threads under PAX Day BloodBrothers. You'll hit start a discussion, and you'll put the title as your name. So it would be Voidlocks BloodBrothers application. And then in the body, you'll paste in, that's not what I meant to paste in there, but you'll paste in that text from the template, and then you'll fill it out with your own answers. And that is how you'll actually get your application submitted. Once it's submitted, it will look something like, let's pull up mine right here. You can see this is where I filled it out, and then an admin or a moderator will reply to you when you've been accepted, and you'll get your application is approved. Visit our Discord and inquire with an admin to get more details. Welcome to the Order of the BloodBrothers. Please follow the code of conduct. We have a code of conduct as well. Basically, the code of conduct is just how you should portray yourself, because you are a extension of the clan. We don't want people acting a fool or, being mean to people or anything like that. So we have a very simple code of conduct. This can change going forward. But me and TK Seaton are going to be going over, let me pull it up here again. We're going to be going over the clan ranks and titles for the Order of the BloodBrothers. It starts off with just basically telling you guys that there are 2 rank structures that are parallel. The way we wanted to set this up was, at first I was just going to have it be military, where it was just conscripts, pages, squires, knights, and stuff like that, all the way up to Grand Marshal, and that was going to be it. But I decided to have 2 options for people, because I know some players are not going to want to be specifically doing the combat in the game. I was going to have a 3rd branch, which was going to be our tradesman branch, but I ended up doing away with that because of the way the game systems work. It wouldn't really make sense to have ranks for that, because the game already gives you your rank, how good you are in that profession. So I did away with that, and those will be handled with titles. So the first rank structure is the military branch, consisting of the page rank, all the way up to Grand Marshal, which is a singular role held by 1 person. These players aspire to climb the ranks of knighthood to protect our clan and its members. We also have the 2nd rank structure, which is the diplomatic branch, consisting of the scribe and going all the way up to minister, which is a singular role held by a singular person. And then for everyone,
all the people, for all the people watching it, it'll be interesting to know what's the best way and the quickest way, or to get through these ranks. Also, what they need to do, and what needs to be done, because obviously everyone will start from the bottom, but it'll be nice for people to kind of have an idea of what they need to do to get to where they need to be.
Right, yeah, to reach whatever rank they're trying to aspire
Yeah.
for. And obviously, everyone's going to want to be getting to the highest rank possible. That's probably everyone's goal. Some people probably not the tradesmen. They probably just want to craft stuff, and that's cool. But for people who are aspiring to climb these ranks, I have a lot of really interesting ideas based on my experiences with Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and running Keepers of the Peace, and being in a lot of other clans and stuff with that game. It was a very similar-ish game in the sense that the game's content is what you make of it. So there are systems in place in the game, such as trade and combat and stuff like that. But what you make of those systems and the free play that you fill your time with actually is going to be the biggest gameplay aspect of the game itself. And what I mean by that is, so for instance, everybody will join on as either a conscript or a scribe. I'm thinking that I may have a generalized rank that will be for people who are not part of a branch yet, and they're just, I don't want to call it peasant, because doesn't peasant sound like too demeaning?
Yeah, I feel like there's better things that they could be called.
Yeah. So I've omitted peasant, and I may have just a generalized like clan member, or maybe we'll just call them like brothers, like blood brother, or you're a brother. You're part of the clan, but you don't have any specific aspirations or direction just yet. You'll just be like a brother maybe. But I'm trying to have our own unique rank structure that isn't following. At first, I was going to do something along the lines of the Templar Knights, but I figured if we do our own unique thing, we can carve out our own history and lineage, So the military branch, again, starts off with conscript. And this is the way I foresee people joining the clan. A new player will come, They'll make an application, they'll get accepted, and they'll start off as a brother. Then they'll get to choose which branch they want to go down. And I'm also thinking maybe there could be some type of hybrid. Some of the titles that I have in here are a hybrid because you can be acquired by knights or councilmen, such as ambassador. But we'll get to that a little bit later on down here. So you start off as a conscript or a page or a scribe, sorry. And that's depending on if you're going to be in the military branch or if you're going to be in the diplomatic branch. From there, you then decide how high you're going to be trying to, your aspirations on how high you want to climb in the clan. If you're going up the military branch from conscript, you'd go to page, which basically just shows everybody that you have some level of competency in the clan. You understand how the clan works. You're becoming more trustworthy with the clan. There's not really any entry level that is barring people from becoming a page because you have not been taken up by a knight yet to be trained. That's what happens when you are a squire. So going from page to squire is where it gets pretty interesting because now you go from a generic, almost like just generic warrior status up to I'm trying to become a knight. We're going to have something similar to a squire challenge or tournament of sorts that you will have to prove yourself to go from page into squire. So you can prove yourself that you have some level of competency. It could just be some level of, and this is where the RP factor comes in, some basic level test, so to speak. To go from a squire to an esquire specifically means that you are directly under a knight, whether that be, it cannot be a knight bachelor, but it could be a knight sergeant, a knight lieutenant, a knight captain, or a knight commander. It also could be a commander or marshal, but those higher level of the higher levels in the rank structure, they are more reserved for command things as opposed to actually engaging with training and taking on squires and stuff like that. But the esquire means you specifically have a knight that has taken you up. And there may be some alterations here where maybe knights can take on multiple squires. I'm not too sure yet. But that is going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to go from a squire to a knight because only certain slots are going to be filled. Not everybody can just become a knight immediately. Our ranks actually are going to have a lot of weight to them. It's going to be something that you're going to be proud to have achieved. And that's how it used to be back when I played Jedi Knight 2. I know I told you a lot about that, Tom, back in the old Star Wars days.
Oh yeah, that's probably back when I was like being born, probably.
Yeah, I don't know if you were alive yet, but we would have something similar where you would be an initiate, and then you'd get taken on as a Padawan, which meant you had a master who was teaching you how to play the game and stuff like that. And I know a lot of us already know how to play the game, and that's why we're going to probably fill the knight ranks very quickly with the existing members. But 6 months from now, new players are joining. We're going to have squires and pages and stuff like that who are aspiring to become knights, and they want to learn the ropes of the game. They want to learn how do I do the best, combat skills, and what's the best not to get killed while locked in an animation, and all the little quirks of the game. So Esquire has a knight they're under the wing of them, and they're going to go with the knight on missions and things like that. As you go up these rank structures, you will have seniority, obviously, but there will be seniority within the ranks as well, and that's where the Squire Council comes in. The Squire Council is my idea of an unsanctioned Knights of the Round Table, so to speak. You will have pages, squires, esquires, all coming together under the authority of the Knight Bachelor. So whenever you make it to Knight Bachelor, after you compete and prove yourself through the trials of the Esquire Challenge and become an actual Knight Bachelor, you won't be a Knight Bachelor for very long. Knight Bachelor is more of a probation period to make sure that you can fill the duties of knighthood properly. So the current Knight Bachelor will pass down a tradition of this Squire Council. It'll be an unsanctioned meeting of everyone below him, all of the lower ranks in the military branch. They can get together at the bar, down at the tavern, and shoot the shit and just have a good time and role play stuff. They can talk about problems with squirehood and how they can best, achieve knighthood and things like that. It's more of a roundtable for the lower ranks. And again, it's unsanctioned, which means it's not a promoted thing, but it's more of like a little hush hush. They're doing this, and having their little meetings. The other things that can be acquired by squires and esquires is man at arms and sergeant at arms. So man at arms is just you've proven yourself in combat to be formidable, and these are titles. Titles are different than ranks. Ranks are actual structured ranks. Titles can be given to just about anyone who fits a certain rank or role. So man at arms, multiple people can acquire that. Sergeant at arms is a singular person. They are the foremost head of the squires. They're still below knights and all that, obviously, but they are the senior most squire. And that concludes the lower ranks of the military branch. And I like the way that flows. I mean, I don't know how we have not really talked about this too much, Tom, but how do you feel about the way that all flows going from, do you like the rank structure there in the lower end of the military branch?
Yeah, I think it's a nice idea. With some of the names, and obviously, I'm not sure if these are what we're 100% going with, but some of the names,
They may
you know,
change a little. We don't know yet.
yeah, like that they can be a bit bland. Maybe everybody else could be using them, so we could have a rethink about it and think about different names. But other than that, like the structure of it is really good. And like I was going to mention the titles, but I like what how we've implemented that. I think that's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I think the titles are a really good way to help people have something to achieve in between their ranks. And some of the titles that we're going to talk about down below, the generic titles, some of them are fluid, so you can earn one and you can also lose one, such as Champion of the Arena or Forge Master or Huntsman and Huntsmaster and things like that. There's a litany of things that we could have titles for, and we're going to have a lot of titles that are held, because that's how it was kind of in the Middle Ages, right? You had all these people with these super long titles and just really cool, I don't know, almost like they're not really nicknames, but almost like nicknames. It's a name that you made for yourself. So we're going to be making a lot of these up as things happen through emergent gameplay. But that makes up the lower rank structure of the military branch. After you are all of the esquires will come together, and the master of the games, which is a singular person, they will be the one to put on our jousting tournaments, our dueling tournaments, our harvesting tournaments. Come back with 5 pelts from a wolf den by yourself as soon as possible, like first person gets first place and stuff like that. We're going to have games that are put on by the clan, and we may, depending on how our diplomatic branch does and how good good our standing is with other clans, we may even have clan to clan tournaments and stuff like that. So we may have titles that will go across clans as well. But once you prove yourself to be an esquire and you get taken up by a knight, you will then be challenged with the knighthood tests, where you're going to be going up against these challenges, whatever they may be, and proving yourself. Once you get knighted, you'll become the Knight Bachelor, and now you've made it to the middle section right here of the BloodBrothers military branch rank structure. Knight Bachelor being the lowest, and again, it's probationary. Then you have the full-blown knight. That's when you've made it. Most people are probably going to end up as a knight. Going up from a knight is going to be exceedingly difficult. And I don't want that I'm not saying that to deter anybody, but don't you agree, Tom, that should be, going past knighthood should be a monumental challenge, because you are going to then be commanding a bunch of other knights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's good that I think if it's something like Knight, where it's going to be difficult to progress, you want it to have a decent name. Like, obviously, if you're struggling to get from Squire to something, you don't want to be that Squire for a really, really long time. But if you're, going to be a Knight for a long time, through hard work and dedication, and at least it's a name that you can have that you'll be happy having.
Right. Yeah, no, there being a knight is nothing to, it's no small task. That is very high prestigious, honor. But it is also the lowest of all of these knight ranks. So these other knight ranks and all of these higher ranks, these are probably going to end up being population based. We can't have 5 knight commanders if we have only 10, 15 people in the clan, right? So as the clan grows, the ranks will swell. At first, just old, full disclosure here, I'm not starting off as Grand Marshal or Minister. We're not having any of these higher ranks until it's a necessity through emergent gameplay in the game. I'm going to start off probably at Knight Bachelor, and everybody else will be Squire. Hey, Jason. Jason in chat saying he just woke up. Welcome to the stream. We're just going over the rank structures and stuff like that and giving our ideas on how we're going to do a lot of the promotions and different titles and ranks and stuff like that in the order of the BloodBrothers. We're giving a brief overview of our ideas, and then at the end we're going to talk about the province where we're gonna go over some provinces and where we might want to be settling. But great to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm probably going to start off as Knight Bachelor, and everyone else will be either a conscript, depending on how new they are, or a page, a squire. There's not going to be any esquires yet because, again, there's no knight to take on esquires. So everyone else will either be a page or a squire based on seniority within the community. So the longer you've been around, the more engaged you are, you'll promote through those ranks quicker. Once we have enough players and we're starting to promote people into squire and giving titles to people in those lower ranks, then I will bump up to knighthood, which will allow me to take an esquire, and then that's how the flow of the clan will go from our small numbers into growing larger. Going from knight to knight sergeant is going to be pretty difficult, and then going from knight sergeant to knight lieutenant and so on, it's going to become exceedingly difficult. A knight commander, there may only ever be one of those at a time. That may be more like the commandant of the Marine Corps, where there's a singular entity for that. Same with commander. We may have multiple commanders, but not if we only have one commander. You can't have 2 commanders and 1 knight commander. So the way that the ranks are going to work is as the ranks swell, these will become population based. So commander is population based. But before we get into the upper echelon here of the rank structure, we have ambassador, and this is a very interesting title. Ambassador is going to be used for both the diplomatic branch and the military branch. And again, all of this is subject to change. This is just my ideas on it. And Tom, you'll have to give me your thoughts on this as well. But an ambassador, as opposed to it being a specific rank where it's like, I am the ambassador, or I am a ambassador, I see it as being more of a title. So you can be a knight lieutenant, which is the lowest rank that I have posted here. If you look right here, ambassador, there's multiple of them, knight lieutenant and above only. So if you are a knight lieutenant, you could be granted or bestowed the title of ambassador. So you can be, for instance, TK Seaton, Knight Lieutenant, Ambassador of the of the Order of the BloodBrothers. That would be like your full title if you were an ambassador and a Knight Lieutenant. And these ambassadors will be going out on, they will have the authority. They will not be specifically tasked with reaching out to other clans, but they will have the authority to speak on behalf of the Order of the BloodBrothers, which is a very big task. So not every Knight Lieutenant will be an ambassador, but every Knight Lieutenant and above has the ability to be bestowed, to be granted the title of ambassador, if that makes sense. How do you think about that, Tom, with it being a title as opposed to a rank itself?
I like the idea of that. It's a way that you can see, for example, like you said, people can go out to speak to other people, and it's a good way for other people to identify, who's important or not, whether like as a title, but then it's not stuck as a specific role, like it's not like a specific rank. So it's nice, nice little thing that can be in front of someone's name that shows, where they are in the chain. I like that idea.
Yeah, and it also can show somebody's aspirations, right? Because it can show that you are in the military branch, but you also have you have the keenness that's going to be required to be an ambassador. It's something that is of an interest to you because it's basically going to be a desired rank or title, not rank, a title. It's going to be, you're going to have to want it, aspire to acquire it. It's not just going to be like, hey, I appoint you ambassador or something like that. And you can't just say, hey, I want to be an ambassador. You have to show promise and show that you actually want it. And then all the little cogs have to fall into place. But I thought
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting.
it's a good way to show someone's dedication and be able to see that. So I think it's a nice little title to for the uh, for the really really advanced people. I mean, I assume as well we're not really going to be messing around too much with this until we get a lot more people. But it's something
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
for later on.
I just want to give people an idea to know of something that, it's fun to see the ranks that you're potentially going to be able to climb after the game comes out. Hey, Bowser, how's it
Yeah.
going? Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the stream. We're just going over the Order of the Blood Brothers ranks and titles, our ideas here for our softcore RP clan in PAX Day. If you like what you see here, make sure you join the Discord, and there are links over to our website where you can submit an application to join our ranks. We're going to be having a lot of fun, very chill, very relaxed clan in PAX Day. We're going to be playing on the Danu RP server. Yeah, we're just going through our ranks and titles right now. So that is ambassador for the military branch. That then takes us to the Knights Council. The Knights Council is kind of like I have written here, Knights of the Round Table. It's a gathering of all of the knights, knight sergeants, lieutenants, captains, and commanders, and because there could potentially be multiple commanders. There will be a commander, just like the Knight Bachelor oversees the unsanctioned Squire Council. The commander or a commander, one of them, will be overseeing the tradition of carrying out the sanctioned Knights of the Round Table. Now, the Knights of the Round Table is sanctioned because it is an actual military gathering of the people who have rank within our, ranks. They are the people who, the knights are going to be carrying out most of the duties, and then they will have pages and squires and all the lower ranks to assist them, right? So you're going to have a knight commander saying, we need to secure this convoy of goods going to our other clan member. We're passing through the PvP zone. We need protection. Tom, as a knight lieutenant and ambassador, I need you to go with this convoy, and you're going to then be like, okay, I will take care of that. I'm taking my squire with me, my esquire, and I'm going to take a couple pages. You guys come with me. I need the man at arms and the sergeant at arms because we need extra protection, and we got to protect this convoy. That's more of how it's going to actually play out in a role play sense through the chain of command. So this Knights of the Round Table is sanctioned because that is where all of the inner workings of our military branch are going to take place. Whenever something needs to get taken care of, it'll be passed down through the chain of command there. Obviously, you can have orders and stuff like that passed down directly to people and stuff like that without actually having a meeting. But this will be a sanctioned gathering, a organized gathering, a scheduled gathering of all of the knights who are able to attend whenever it takes place. And it will be overseen by the commander or a commander. That then brings us, first, before we go on to the upper ranks there, what do you think, Tom, about that Knights of the Round Table? Do you think it's a pretty cool idea to have that? Gives them a little bit of authority within their rank structure as well as the Squire Council?
I like that idea. It's a nice way as well to get the high ranked people communicating and getting things done. Again, I mean, we've got plenty of time to think about how we're going to implement it fully, since we probably won't be using it for a while.
Right.
The only thing I would say is, we need to be careful of how many people are going to be, at that round table, because you don't want too many, I'd imagine.
Yeah, there's only so many seats at the table, right? But that's why it's going to be very hard to climb after knighthood. And I kind of picture it like this. Let's say we have 10 knights and we only have 5 or 6 ranking knights of sergeant or higher. I kind of picture the knights standing in the area of the round table and all of the ranking officers sitting at the table actually having the discussion, and they can then talk to the other knights that are below them for information or any insight on things if they need to. So it's kind of the Knights of the Round Table. The knights will be there, But since they're not of rank of sergeant or higher, they'll kind of just be hanging out, making sure the place is secure, and lightly taking part, if that makes sense. And as we grow our ranks and they swell, and we have more of these knight sergeants and stuff like that, then it will go based on seniority. And again, this is a lot of softcore role play, right? Because we're making up our own way to play the game and enjoy it and have fun. We're doing this softcore role play by having these meetings and talking about issues in the clan and stuff like that, or if we need resources and things like that, or security here, or we had a breach there. And so it's a lot of role play, but it's also, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be pretty cool. So after all of those ranks, we now get into the upper end of the military branch for the Order of the Blood Brothers, starting off with Commander. Commander is the lowest of these high ranks, and this is going to be a population-based rank. I'm trying to think of some titles that these commanders could have, but I think they're going to flow naturally. Like in our playthrough of Baldur's Gate, my nickname was like the Chaos Commander because I thrived in chaos. The more people on the battlefield, the better. I just went around and smashed skulls, and it was amazing. So I got the nickname of Chaos Commander from the lore and backstory of my character. So there will be titles for these upper ends. I don't want people to think like, oh, if you're a commander, it's very bland. You just are a director of sorts. That's not the case at all. Commanders will have specific roles that they excel at. Maybe there's a commander who's great for PvP, a commander who's great for PvE, like leading dungeon raids and stuff like that. So there will be different titles that will be bestowed upon these commanders based on what their specialty is. And these, again, this is population based, so as the need arises, we will have multiples, but it will most likely be a singular when the rank actually does get utilized. Directly above them is Marshal. This could potentially be singular. I'm not sure yet. Same with the diplomatic branch, the second in command. I'm not sure if it's going to be a singular or a plural. There may end up being two marshals at the end of the day once we have a need for a grand marshal. But the Grand Marshal is the end-all be-all currently of our military branch rank structure, which means there is one Grand Marshal. They are the head of the military branch. They run the show with the minister, who is the highest rank of the diplomatic branch. Is there anything else that you think needs to be touched on in the military branch, Tom, before we move on to the diplomatic?
I'm just having a look at it now and seeing what we've been over. One of the things I was going to say when you got onto the diplomatic branch, but might as well say it now, is for people who are obviously interested in the PvP, doing the military stuff, are they going to be able to get their titles and their ranks for both the branches, or is it just really just one kind of thing?
For which people?
Well, for people who, like, for example, if I'm doing a lot of PvP stuff, I'm going to be working up the military branch. Is there any way I can do stuff to work up the diplomatic branch as well, or would I just be stuck to the military one?
That's a very good question, actually. I'm not too sure how I'm going to play that out yet. Right now, how I have these set up is these are parallels to each other, which means a new player will kind of decide which path they want to go, kind of like Sith or Jedi. They have parallels, but they don't really cross over. There is some crossover with the titles. For instance, a scribe is more along the lines of a page for the military branch. So a scribe and a page are technically on par with each other. A secretary is kind of on par with a squire. There is no esquire where you've taken under the wing of a counselor yet. I'm thinking about adding in that, but I'm not too sure other than titles how that crossover would work. We can definitely try and think of some ways to have the crossover. It doesn't really make sense to be a knight and like a secretary or something, because I don't know. We'll have to figure out how we want. I guess maybe it could work, but we have to figure out how we would want that to actually function. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, that's fair. I mean, maybe if it comes down to renaming it, just so, like you said, being a knight and a secretary. I mean, that doesn't sound right, but maybe it could be worded like renamed. It's something to look at, obviously, but it's just be interesting because there will be people who will be wanting to play different ways, but then there, might be somebody playing who's interested in going down both the the roots, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think what we can do is we can supplement for people who are wanting to do that. We can supplement with pretty much like just using titles such as ambassador. We can come up with some other interesting and unique ones that I think will allow enough crossover. Because if you want to have some form of diplomatic authority, but you're part of the military branch because PvP or combat is your main area of expertise, you can be any knight or commander and stuff like that and be endowed with being ambassador, if that makes sense. And being an ambassador kind of fills a lot of the roles of the diplomatic branch. You're not necessarily, well, I do actually have some interesting thoughts on the council, like the actual council, which is down here. We haven't gotten to it yet, but the actual council is going to be for both military and diplomatic branches to meet. So when we get down further, I'll go into that in a little more detail. Let's catch up on a little bit of chat here. We got Jason saying, yeah, good question. Since I want to do it all in the end, both master warrior and master crafter of all the crafts. Yeah, I'm definitely going to, well, I was going to have a third branch for the craftsman, but it didn't really make sense. And the reason I did away with it was because your rank of being a craftsman wouldn't really mean anything, right? Because even if you join the clan and you already maxed out 100% on your carpentry, you don't have any ranks to climb. You're already there. So it didn't make sense because there is a actual system in game to facilitate those ranks. Those would be accomplished. You'd get satisfaction through titles then. So based on whatever rank you are, whatever you can produce the best, like let's say you're very good at making armor and you're the best at making armor in the clan, you could then have the title of like master armor smith or something like that. So you'd have titles to facilitate the tradesman roles. And I think we can do something similar with titles to have crossover between the military branch and the diplomatic branch. And we can come up with those as we get further. And if anybody in chat has any ideas for some really cool titles that can be acquired by people, I'm all ears. Also join the Discord, post it in the PAX Day chat. We got a lot of really good ideas flying around, especially with, ranks and stuff. Lee Bob, crap, gonna miss this one. I'm gonna get to the store to stock up on potato skins for Tuesday. All right, Lee Bob, sounds good. You can always check it out later and hang out with us in the chat and stuff on Discord. Rough Rider, great to see you. Rough Rider, actually, big shout out to Rough Rider. He helped me a lot last night with going over these ranks and coming up with some cool rank structures. Him and his son, really appreciative there. So greetings to you, Rough Rider. All right, let's continue down our journey here in these titles and ranks. All right, where did we leave off here? So I think we were just getting into the diplomatic branch. So at the very starting point for the diplomatic branch is going to be scribe. I touched on this a little bit. Scribe is similar to page, and again, these are parallel. Then you can become a secretary. I'm thinking of having something above secretary, but I don't know what it would be yet. It would be like an esquire where you're in training to become a counselor. Counselor being equivalent to a knight bachelor or a knight. It's somewhere along there. There's a little bit less, a couple less ranks for the diplomatic branch. We could flesh these out a little more if anyone has any more ideas there. Oh, Jason says he's Black Pickle. Oh, okay. I did not know that was your YouTube, so that's good to know. Yeah, I saw your application last night. So everyone who filled out an application on the website, thank you very much. I approved everybody so far, and I gave everyone the roles and stuff on the website as well as on the Discord. But yeah, secretary, what do you think could be above secretary, Tom? I'm not too sure. I'm trying to think of like a title that's similar to esquire, where you're taken under the wing of a counselor, and it could be parallel to esquire. But I'm not too sure yet. I guess it could be like just...
Like, S-secretary doesn't really work, does it?
No. Yeah, well, esquire is actually an actual role or an actual rank back in the day. So I'm not too sure what we could fill in with there. But nevertheless, we have counselor is similar to being a knight bachelor or a knight, and then I really like this one. And big shout out to Rough Rider. He kind of came up with this one here. This can be pronounced two ways. Is it Justicar? Is it Justiciar? I'm not sure. You could pronounce it either way. I think both are correct, Justicar or Justiciar. But that is
I was reading it and it looks like Justicia, but I've always said it as Justicar, so I don't know as well.
yeah, I think it's literally just a pronunciation difference. I think they both will mean the same thing in the end. But I really, really like this rank. I think this is a really awesome rank for people to aspire for. That's just a really cool title, isn't it? Oh, hey, Andy. Andy Cans in chat. You are flying loco. Okay, yeah, I got your application last night as well. Proved that one through. Welcome to the Order of the BloodBrothers. Gonna have a lot of fun going into this early access. Glad you guys are able to make it here. If you missed the beginning part of this episode of PaxCast, make sure you go back after we're done here and listen to the beginning of it because we go over some pretty good juicy bits for our clan going forward. But yeah, I really, really like the Justiciar or Justicar rank. I think that's an awesome name. It's going to be a really cool rank for people to have. It just sounds really nice, you know? TK Seaton, Justiciar of Order of the BloodBrothers.
It's similar to the night one where it's, you know, because obviously the higher up you get, the harder it'll keep. You know, it'll get harder to keep going. So it's one of those ones where, you know, when you get kind of stuck at that rank for a little bit, it's going to be nice that that's your title and not something like a secretary. You're going to want to be a justiciar for a while.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because again, climbing these is going to be probably even more difficult than climbing the military branch because people that you entrust to take care of diplomatic matters must be very, very trustworthy of the clan and have a very good forward facing image because they are the representative. They're the first interaction of your clan with other clans. So you need to make sure that they are the upmost top notch person in the clan. But yeah, so we have Justiciar, and then we get into the titles specifically for the diplomatic branch. Well, we have ambassador here, which again, we also have for knight, lieutenant, and above. For the diplomatic branch, however, it's counselor and above. So as long as you're a counselor, you can be bestowed the title of ambassador. And there also is one that is unique to the diplomatic branch, which is an attaché, or however you pronounce it. I think it's attaché. Attachés, me and Rough Rider and his son were talking a lot about attachés. They're kind of like messengers. They're not so much ambassadors in the sense that they're going and having back and forth edicts with other clans. They're more so messengers. They're sent out by the higher ups to convey a message, kind of like when the messenger came from Persia into Sparta. He got kicked into a well, so be careful and take knights with you. But kind of along those lines, you come into, maybe we're declaring war. I'm sending an attaché to make sure that they know that we mean war. You know, they're going to go deliver that message. So that's going to, there can be multiples of both of these. And the attachés are going to be counselors and above. Again, this is all going to be very fluid. This is not set in stone. Everybody let us know what you think about these down below in chat and in the comments if you're watching this after, or on the Discord. Get active, because if you think that there should be some stuff added, if you have really good ideas, let us know. But how do you feel about the ambassador and the attaché being counselor plus? Do you think maybe some of them should be Justicar plus only? Do you think we should add another rank in here to flesh out? I feel like we're a little light on ranks for the diplomatic branch.
If anything, I think something should be added for that
Right.
attaché role. Like as you mentioned, you know, these are the people that are sending the messages potentially. You know, that's people you're going to want to trust and you're going to want to know what they're doing. But if there's less ranks, then, you know, it's quicker than you can get up there. So I think it's worth maybe even adding one just before that, just so you know that you've definitely got the right people to do the sending the messages, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Remember too, attaché is a title, not a rank, by the way. So attaché can be assigned to, or it could be acquired by counselors or justiciars or high justiciar. So that's a title. Yeah. But I think we need a couple more ranks in here. I think I'm trying to think of another name for a higher counselor. Maybe we just call it high counselor. You have counselor, high counselor, secretary, and then something above secretary. That would give us 2 more ranks to really flesh out the diplomatic, because we have.
It might be worth just putting it in now, just so we know it's there, so we don't forget. But then we can obviously change the names at any point.
True. Yeah. But yeah, we have above the Justicar. Well, before we get to the high Justicar, we have the council. So this is where it gets a little interesting, because we have the Knights of the Round Table for the Knights Council. That is sanctioned. We have the unsanctioned little gathering of the squires. It's like the military men gathering in the pub and getting drunk and breaking bar stools and stuff and having their good old times and their own like little meeting of what's going on in the lower end of the military branch. But the council is very interesting in the sense that it's not just diplomats that are here. The council, you can be a part of the council by being any senior ranking officer. So this is the knight commander or commanders. It's the commander, it's the marshals, it's the grand marshal. The council is a gathering of the highest ends of the rank structure for the Order of the Blood Brothers. It's similar to the Knights of the Round Table, but Knights of the Round Table is specifically a military meeting. The council is both military and diplomatic. And the reason behind that is, hear me out. The ambassadors and all the other diplomatic people, the justiciars, they are going to need to talk directly to the military arm. For instance, if we are getting attacked on a trade route constantly, the justiciar or the high justiciar needs to come forward to the military branch and formally let them know we need more security along this path. We keep losing resources here because we're getting jumped by this other clan that we're at war with or whatever. So I really like that aspect of the council being sanctioned, and it is all of the higher ranking members of both branches coming together. And again, this is going to be population based. So if we have a lot of, knight commanders, not all of them are going to be able to attend the council meeting. They could be in the backdrop of the council meeting, much like the knights at the Knights of the Round Table meeting. Once they get pushed down, it's going to be based on seniority. So the highest ranking, let's say there's 2 knight commanders. They have the same authority technically, but one is the senior knight commander, if that makes sense. They've been there longer. They have tenure, so to speak. But how do you feel about that council meshing with both branches, bringing both branches together?
I was actually going to bring that up to you, so I'm glad you've brought that up. Is that it might be worth having them, kind of be meshed together for, scenarios exactly like that. So I'm actually glad you've said that and brought that up, because I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what types of talks and things are going to take place after the game gets fleshed out and we've been playing for a while. Jason says in chat, in my opinion, we'll have lots of time to grow and refine the ranks and titles. Absolutely, yeah. And that's why I'm just giving a brief overview of our ideas and thoughts, so that way people can, before the game even comes out, people can understand what the Order of the Blood Brothers is all about, how we're going to be playing, the ranks that they have, the things that they can have to aspire to become, and the ranks and titles to climb to achieve, and just a brief overview. Again, this is not a full extensive. This is all going to be, could potentially all be changed in the future, but it just gives people an idea of what we're all about, But yeah, so that is the council, which is a sanctioned meeting of all of the higher ups. That takes us up to the upper end now, similar to the commander, marshal, and grand marshal of the military branch. Now we have the high justiciar, which again is going to be population based. There will probably be one at any given time early on, and then that will, as our ranks swell, that will grow. This is the other one that I'm not too sure about here, is the emissary. Emissary is a very specialized rank. From my understanding, an emissary took care of a lot of the espionage. They took care of a lot of the double agent work and the secrecy and stuff. So I think this is going to be a highly, highly sought after rank, and it will probably be 1 or 2 people eventually. But this is going to be a very, very special rank that is going to take care of, if I'm the Grand Marshal, because I fully plan to be in the military branch. I'm going to have crossover. I will be an ambassador eventually, being the founder of all of this. I will be in the military branch because that's more of the thing that's more my style. I have a very diplomatic abilities, but I'm not sure if there will be a title for me, maybe like luminary or something like that, as the, to show that I was the founder, so I have authority over all. But I'm not going to be a one-person leader. I will have the final say for a lot of things, but it's going to be this team effort of a council. And I really like that idea of everybody having the authority to come together based on your rank and give your opinions and actually take part in what we're building going forward. And it's not just me dictating. I'm not a king, right? That's why we don't have royalty. I'm not a king. We're not going to have kings and queens and dukes and earls and all of these royalty. It's more so, we're more along the lines of a war band or we're this mercenary group, right? So that's why I really like the way that these ranks are playing out. But emissary is going to be very important. If I'm a grand marshal and I need some espionage like carried out, I'm going to go to my emissary and I'm going to say, "Hey, I need information on this clan. They are fucking us up out in the fields. They keep stealing all of our shit. I need you to take whoever you need. You let me know who you need. If you need a knight's commander who can keep a secret, I'll get you who you need. If you need a war band and I need you to go do some espionage runs, this is going to be a very, very highly sought after rank there in the diplomatic branch. And then just above them is minister. Minister is going to be just like grand marshal. They will be the pinnacle, a singular entity that will see over all of the diplomatic branch. They will be not above Grand Marshal, not below Grand Marshal, just right there paralleled with them. But how do you feel about the emissary and stuff? Don't you think that's pretty cool, though, how the emissary is going to work, being a specialized rank?
Yeah, I was thinking about. I'm looking just below it as well, where it says minister. Is that going to be something similar with that as well, in terms of how that's going to work?
Well, yeah, like I was saying, minister is basically the equivalent of grand marshal. So that's a singular title. Whereas, like, so for instance, marshals are almost on the same playing field as an emissary, except an emissary specializes in espionage and double agent and secrecy and stuff like that. They're like the Order of the Shadows within the Order of the Blood Brothers. A marshal is just someone who has a lot of tactical prowess and they can lead tactical assaults and stuff like that, and they'll specialize in PvP or PvE or dungeon raiding or whatever it may be, or security. Maybe we have a marshal who specializes in security, whereas emissary is more so directly for espionage. But then going back to what you were saying, minister is essentially the grand marshal equivalent within the diplomatic branch. So they'll oversee all of their emissaries, all of their high justiciars. They will be at the council meeting. 100% they'll be at the council meeting. And I may even have the minister be able to sit in at the Knights of the Round Table because, they're up there. The emissary for sure will need to be able to sit in at the Knights of the Round Table because, again, they're working directly with the military branch to run espionage. Dan Richardson says, "Morning Void" in chat. Good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. We're just going over the Order of the Blood Brothers clan and our ideas for all of the ranks and titles going forward. But yeah, doesn't that make sense though, having the emissary be able to sit in at the Knights of the Round Table and maybe even the minister? Because they're going to need to see some of the stuff behind the scenes. They're not going to have a predominant role like the commanders will at the council, but I feel like they need to be able to have some bleed over there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, there's nothing at that table that's gonna, be nothing that they like. There's not gonna be any discussions about stuff they shouldn't be hearing anyway. So
Right. Yeah,
I
they
think
have the
it's
rank
definitely
to
worth.
have all that info.
Yeah, they should be. They should have a seat at that table. Which I wonder as well if them having a seat at that table would also kind of limit how many other seats, the
The knight
the
sergeants
other
and stuff are
knights
going to
get.
get.
Yeah, which means that will probably make that more of a difficult role to get, which will probably, get people more dedicated and working harder towards it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and one thing I don't know if I mentioned, but to climb the ranks of knight, there will be games that will be put on by the master of the games, which is a title can be held by any person really, even of like squire and plus. I think it might be reserved for like knight bachelor plus or maybe secretary or counselor plus, depending on where we want to put that. But master of the games is a title that is going to be very highly sought after as well. They're going to be putting on all of our jousting tournaments. I really, really hope that once we get mounts, they put systems in game that allow us to capitalize on some emergent gameplay, such as being able to have jousting tournaments. And like if you've ever been to like a medieval times or something like that, or a Renaissance fair, they'll have rings that the knights will have to very precisely, games of skill, the knights will have to compete in, and then games of battle where you can earn the champion of the arena title. But we'll get into those titles once we get on to actual titles. But I wanted to note that some of these titles are going to be able to be held by other ranks, lower ranks as well. But we need to think of what's going to be above secretary and what's going to be above counselor. So any ideas on those in the chat, guys, let us know. We want to flesh out this diplomatic branch a little bit more. But that is pretty much top to bottom what we're thinking for the military branch and the diplomatic branch. Has a lot of room for growth for everybody. a lot of these ranks are going to be pretty difficult to climb. The diplomatic ones are going to be more based on trustworthiness and how well you present yourself. And the military branch is going to be, the growth is going to be highly dependent on your skills in game and what you can produce and your ability with a sword and your skills with a sword and stuff like that, or whatever you specialize in. And there, again, there will be more titles for specialization. Maybe we have like, you know, the shield master, and it's someone who's like, has impenetrable defenses. They're very good at defensive play and they can hold a line and stuff like that. Jason says, did you ever play Life is Feudile? I did not. I've heard a lot about it. Oh, they have jousting and stuff in Life is Feudile? Or Feudal? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm really hoping that they bring over stuff like that into PAX Day. I think they will eventually, because the devs at Mainframe, they always talk about how it's going to be a community-driven game. And if it's going to be a community-driven game, they need to give us the tools to drive the community, right? We need things to be able to trade. We need mounts to be able to have caravans. I think it'd be really cool to have wagons where you have to escort your wagons with knights and stuff to make sure it reaches its destination. All kinds of stuff like that will just really promote emergent gameplay. But yeah, if they bring all kinds of systems to allow us to put on very, very rich and very satisfying games, such as tournaments and things like that for battle, it's just going to make our lives a lot easier, because we won't have to fake it as much. You know, if you have an actual way you can joust in game, it's whoever jousts the best, you know. But yeah, those are our rank structures. Going back to the beginning a little bit here about tradesmen, the reason I did away with tradesmen again was because your rank in your trade is your rank in that trade. So we'll be filling in that with just titles. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit here so you can see some of the thoughts that we have on these titles. Before we move on to titles, do you have any last thoughts or any other questions or anything that you think, any ideas, Tom, for the diplomatic or military branch?
I was gonna mention. Well, I was gonna say this is mainly titles, so I'll save it for a second. For did we want something above secretary?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to need something for above secretary and probably something for either above or below counselor.
Because you could move secretary as the one before this, but you could just have something just plain like citizen or something.
I feel
You
like
know,
citizen is more of a entry level. Citizen actually might be good for people who don't have any ranks. If you're just a citizen, you know what? I was actually thinking of calling them brothers. People who join and they're like fresh and they haven't chosen a path yet, but they've, you know, basically taken the oath. They would be considered a brother, and they would basically be members who don't have rank. So I might add that on here as well. Let me edit this and add this in. So if we scroll
and
up
this
here,
this might be better for like a title, but for something like consular or something, you could have like in the theme with Blood Brothers, you could have like a blood consular or something. Like that could be our like unique little thing. But
that'd
then
be
if we
pretty
didn't want to
interesting.
do that, we could have like a title, say, you know, you kill a lot of things as a knight, then you can gain the title of Blood Knight or something.
Oh yeah, that's actually, I like that. Let me put that down here under titles. I'm gonna put this on the end. Blood Knight. I like that. Yeah, that's a
And
pretty
that
cool
could
one.
I say that could potentially also work for like diplomatic people as well, right? You could, you know, hypothetically be like a blood emissary
Or a
or
Justiciar.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea. Let me expand this so I can copy this over here. So we got Blood Knight and Blood Justiciar. Blood Justiciar. I like that. So these are titles. Yeah, I like that idea of a Blood Knight being someone who's, after you've, got so many kills in PvP or something, or, you've proven yourself in some way, shape, or form, you can earn the title of Blood Knight. And that should be limited to a couple people, maybe a singular person. I'm not sure, depending on what the title actually means. But I do like that idea. So let me
It'll be
add
a cool
here.
title, isn't it? It'll be like TK Seaton, the Blood Knight.
Right, yeah. So let's put, wait, this can't go here. This needs to go above it. So we'll put basic clan
And
member.
there's probably other stuff we can do about that, just based, you know, around the name. If anything comes up, I'll say it, but that's just like a rough example.
Yeah, no, I like it. So we're going to put here basic clan member will be considered a brother. I'm going to put a space here. Okay, let's save this. So basic clan members will be known as brothers. And again, it's not a indication of gender or sex or anything like that. A brother is just, we are called the blood brothers. It could be female, it could be male. None of these are gender specific by any means at all. Um, so above secretary or counselor, I'm not too sure. We'll have to come up with something there. Maybe I'll use Chat GPT to see what they think. I'll paste it into Chat GPT and have it spit out something and see what sounds right. But unless you have anything else on diplomatic or military, you want to move on to titles?
Yeah, I can't think of anything, so yeah, let's get on to titles.
All right. Titles are generic and also specific things that have to do with any type of accomplishment within the clan. So you can have, again, Master of the Games. That's going to be a singular person who puts on and hosts. Let's say I'm the Grand Marshal. We have a ton of people in the clan. We also have a minister. The minister and the Grand Marshal come together. We put on, we let the Master of the Games know we want a game hosted this weekend. The Master of the Games will actually go to the community, go to the clan, and they'll say, "Hear ye, hear ye. We are having the Knights tournament." All the Knights will then know to prepare for this weekend to compete for a promotion. And we could even let people know, oh, hey, there's going to be one knight promotion taking place this weekend. Could be a knight to a knight sergeant, could be a knight sergeant to a lieutenant, or so on and so forth, or maybe a knight commander up to commander. We'll let them know what's up for grabs, if anything, or it could just be a game simply to have games. But we would go to the Master of the Games and tell them, put on a game, this is what it's for, have the tournament on this weekend, bada bing, bada boom. So that's what the Master of the Games title is going to be about. Hold on, my Stream Deck went to sleep for a second. Let me wake it up. All right, there we go. Then we have Quartermaster. I'm not too sure how this one's going to work. Again, some of these are just ideas. So if you have any ideas for cool titles, please let us know. But some of these are just ideas that we brainstormed. So Quartermaster, they could oversee the storehouse. They could have direct authority over what goes in and out of that storehouse. They should be someone probably of Knight Sergeant rank or equivalent, because that's kind of important. You know, we have all of our wares in there and stuff like that. I think that they would need to be the Sergeant of the Arms as well. So either a Sergeant of the Arms or Man at Arms, I'm not too sure. Maybe Sergeant of the Arms is the security arm of the Quartermaster. There's going to be a lot of interconnectedness with these titles. People are going to have their rank, which is a generic, I'm a knight, but you're going to have many specific things, and you can hold multiple titles. You could be Master of the Games and the Quartermaster and Champion of the Arena and a Huntsman. A Huntsman was my idea of someone who partakes in the Grand Hunt. I thought the Hunt's Master would put on this hunt tournament overseen by the Master of the Games, and the Hunt Master would kind of take the reins of orchestrating the Great Hunt, which could be, we're hunting bears. Get your party together. We're going out hunting bears. It's like this big, almost like, wasn't there like, there's like an English tradition of something of like fox hunting, is there, Tom? I don't know if you know about that, but like there'll be guys on horseback or something and they'll go like hunting foxes with shotguns or something like that.
There is. That's very posh. I'm not from those kind of areas, so I'm not familiar with it. But it's there are things like that. It's with pheasants and stuff as well.
Yeah, so
But
imagine that, but in this medieval time where our clan is putting on these events where the Hunt's Master is sending out these hunting parties to go on different, or it could be like, you know, we're taking on a dungeon today. The Hunt's Master it's a game though. It's more of a game rather than in terms of how do I put it? It's more of a game rather than a resource rather than it being specifically for gathering resources, if that makes sense. It's a tournament or a competition. It's like, who can acquire the most pelts? Oh, you did. I promote you to huntsman, you know, things like that. They're just fun little titles to, again, have emergent gameplay based around the community.
And it gives the community something to do and look forward to getting as well.
Yeah, it's all going to be about just little events that we're putting on, and just it's going to be what we make of it, you know. So I want to have a lot of stuff. There's going to be tons of shit going on for clan members to always be able to take part in. There's never going to be a dull moment where you're just like, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. We're going to be putting on all kinds of events. We're going to be hosting third parties, other clans and stuff. We'll have parties and things like that. Ooh, that's a good title. What would be a title for someone who puts on like not like what would be the equivalent of a ball? You know, you'd have somebody who would put on like a big gathering or a ball. What would be the equivalent for the medieval times? I don't know, just like a
Oh,
feast.
it's killing me because there is a name for it, and it's slipped my mind.
Yeah. But whoever
If you
that
were
would
to
be, there
like,
would be a title for them.
if you were to look it up, it would come up straight away. But I for the life of me, can't think of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they would be called, but it'd be like a feast or something like that. We'd put on like a grand feast and somebody would oversee that. So that would be a title. I'm not sure what their title would be yet, but that would be a title that could be acquired. Champion of the Arena is probably going to be reserved for someone who is the best dueler, or maybe we'll have it be duelist or something like that. There's going to be a lot of little titles that are going to be acquired by people. There's always going to be something for you to strive for. But if you guys have any ideas for a gala or a gala, yeah, yeah. I think that's medieval, right? A gala, isn't that where the term galleria comes from? But yeah, I think he's right. A gala. What would the title be
I've never
for
heard it.
that?
I mean, yeah, again, you could mix something in with it, like blood gala.
Ooh, yeah, we could host the Blood Gala where we bring all of our allies together and we just have like a big party or something, you know, all the allied clans and we have a big feast or something like that. I'm hoping they take the professions and gameplay aspects into consideration regarding food and stuff like that. I want to be able to eat food and have party and stuff like that to be able to gain buffs and not have it just be for buffs, right? You want to be able to have a party and put out all kinds of fancy feasts and things like that that are hard to acquire. Jason's saying, yeah, a gala event. Yeah, we could host the Blood Gala. That would be pretty cool. I like that idea. But these are, again, just some of the titles. So let us know. We're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon, but let us know on Discord or in the comments or anything what other titles. You can even make a forum post, register on the website. I'm going to show the registration again just for anybody who is interested. Blood Brothers clan application. I know my website's kind of cut off here in this little image on the stream. I didn't want it to be just full blown, but you can see here, this is how you'd actually go about applying. This is all linked in the Discord as well. So join the Discord. Submit your application. You'd go back here to PAX Day, Blood Brothers, and you'd start a discussion and you would put your name in the title. And here's the other applications that we have right here. We have Black Pickle, Flying Loco, Grim North, Rough Rider, TK Seaton's. So we got a lot of applications coming through already. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to bring up the code of conduct so people can see that one last time. Where is it? Here it is, code of conduct. Very simple stuff. Basically, no body camping, because that's, if you're preventing someone from playing the game, or specifically you're killing them over and over simply to stop them from playing the game, I consider that griefing, and that goes outside of the bounds of normal RP. So that's body camping. I don't want to promote any body camping or stream sniping or anything like that whatsoever. Jason says, do we know how many of us there will be? Looks like 12 folks. I'm not too sure yet, but obviously we're going to be growing as more people join. If you have any friends who want to join, anyone else who's thinking about getting in the game, everybody's welcome to submit an application. If we get overwhelmed with applications, we're going to be selectively going as we receive them in order. But our ranks are going to grow quite substantially. I have a feeling, because the channel's growing a lot. We're at 193 or 195 subscribers currently. The subscriber goal in the top left has always lagged a little bit behind, but we're very close to that 200 mark. So if you're watching and you're not subscribed and you like what you see, you like what you hear, and you want to join Blood Brothers, or if you just want to hear more content, because these podcasts, these PaxCasts are going to continue even after we're playing. I'm going to be live streaming the game, but I'm also going to be putting out update videos on inter-clan dealings, as well as updates on the game. I'm going to be covering all of that. So make sure you subscribe. Help us reach that 200 mark. I'd really appreciate it. Jason is saying, And out of all of us, how's who's bringing what plots to the guild? I have 4 plots. I don't know how many plots Tom is going to get. I know there's a couple other people who are getting the 4 plot package. I don't think everybody is all going to be living in the exact same region, and that's what I want to talk about at the very, very end here is where I'm thinking of setting up. I know that there's some of us that are going to be probably setting up in some other areas, but I'm not opposed to that. We don't all have to live in the same exact area. We're going to have enough land mass with our plots to be able to secure a pretty decent area for our main headquarters, will be where I'm at, obviously. So if you'd like to take part in being part of the main headquarters and we're building a village, I plan on having a town square with a village and a storehouse for all of our materials, our shared materials. We're going to have the council meeting hall. So it's going to be quite an extensive thing. So any plots that people want to quote unquote donate, yeah, like Jason, you have 4. If you want to bring those to the main headquarters, I would much appreciate it because we're going to need a little bit of land to be able to have this village, our headquarters, so to speak. But if you want to have an outpost on a different area, by all means, you're not forced to live by us at all. So no body camping, no griefing or exploiting in any way. Exploiting I use loosely because I stood on rocks and I stabbed bears. That's not, I don't know. Is that exploiting? You could argue it is. It's definitely probably not an approved way to kill a bear. Rough Rider says, I think as we build up a fortress of our crafting equipment accumulation, I think, or acumen, let's see, we will see a lot more people joining us as well. Yep, I definitely think that that's going to happen. You know, that's why I want to go to Tremen. I know Rough Rider, you're not too keen on being in Tremen, and again, that's perfectly fine. I kind of want to go to Tremen because I know it's going to be a high population area. But I think I think all places are going to be populated, but I think Tremen's going to be a little more populated. But that's the kind of the reason I want to go there is to make a name for ourselves, right? Carve a piece of that world out and have something for people to see. They're going to see the headquarters of BloodBrothers there, you know? And then he goes on to say, especially the solos and duos, Dan and I will contribute 2 plots. Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys contributing some plots to the main headquarters or wherever you set up. We can have little outposts by you guys as well, because I know you're thinking of going in. I forgot the name of the zone you want to go in, but yeah, I'm probably going to end up setting. I know this brings us to our final point here. I'm probably going to be setting up in the province of Caries in Tremen. I know it's highly debated whether resources are going to be camped and all of this stuff. I am of the mindset that everything's going to be camped. It's going to be hard to get stuff everywhere. Sure, it'll be slightly easier in some places, but I think after the influx dies down, as long as we have our plots established and we have enough land, I think we'll be able to eventually get some resources going and not have too much of a hard time. And again, we can also travel, right? I'm not stuck collecting resources in Tremen. I can make a 30-minute hour trip somewhere. The reason I want to be in Tremen is because I know it's going to be a hotbed and I'm going to be streaming almost all of my activities in game, live streaming all the time. So I want to be able to have content around populated areas with interactions with the community and things like that, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have. Jason in chat here. If you can do it in game, it's not an exploit. If you're using its can't say it right now. Mechanics. Yes, the mechanics. I agree, but I also disagree. I think some things are oversights or not fleshed out yet. Like, for instance, if you're standing on a rock and a bear can't reach you, technically that's an exploit because that bear should have something like in World of Warcraft where they just evade or reset or something like that. But I was using that to not only kill bears for their resources, I was leveling up my weapon skills by doing that. That's technically an exploit, but that's on the very low end. I'm talking exploits in terms of like being able to steal stuff by exploiting the permission system to steal stuff from other clans and things like that. I want to make it very clear. BloodBrothers, while it sounds very villainy, we're not the bad guys. We are neutral, independent mercenaries, so to speak. We can be hired for things. We're not bad guys though. We're not going to be We're not going to be bandits where we're jumping people. We will be for hire. We will be protecting our own. We will be defending ourselves, but we will not be the bad guys. So if you're hoping to be bad guys, I got to put an end to that right here because I don't want to get the You know, I don't want to get the idea that of the community thinking that we are these villains in the world and being out to get us. Not to say we won't do bad things, but we are not primarily there to do bad things. But that's just about going to wrap this up unless we have anything else we need to talk about here. We're going to be on the Danu RP server. Opens at 7 a.m. on the 18th. No preload for Steam, preload for the launcher. And I'm really thinking we're going to be in the province of Caries in Tremin. Let me know what you guys think about that. If you are willing to partake in the province of Caries playing in the Tremin. I really like Tremin because there's everything's like right there, you know? Jason says, especially if we want to trade, we want to be in a high population area. Yeah, it'll make trading a lot easier. I do understand how, Jason, what, no sacrifice? Hey, we could sacrifice some things. It's just not, we're not going to be overtly evil. We're not Sith Lords, you know? We could be neutral, where you do some things left of the line, some things right of the line, of the moral line, but we're not going to be overtly evil. We're not going to go around and camp people and murder on sight everybody. And that just doesn't jive well with me. I want to be more of a neutral faction, so to speak. Tom, any final thoughts? I know you got to get going here pretty soon. So any final thoughts on any of this? Any of our ranks, any of our soft core RP rules? Any thoughts on where we're going to be stationed in the high pop area? Do you have any thoughts on any of that stuff? I don't know if we lost Tom there, if he's muted. He may have dropped out. I know he had to take care of something at the later end of this here, so he may have dropped out. That is perfectly fine. But if anyone else has any other final thoughts, let me know in chat. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to settle in province of Caries in Tremin, where I originally wanted to. I really fell in love with the beauty of that place. I liked the resource nodes that I found. There was a lot of iron nearby, a wolf den. Probably going to be on the southwest end of Tremin. So that way we'll be more towards the middle of the province while still being close to the gates. Because I know the wolf den is on the south side of Tremin and all the iron is on the northwest side. So if we're on the southwest corner of it, down by that river, maybe right off the river or something, will be a pretty good area. If you watch some of my previous streams, I think it was part 10. Yeah, it was part 10. I actually went on an exploration and I went to Tremin. And I really fell in love with that zone. So you can see some of the places that we're probably going to be looking at setting up in. But that's our ranks. That's our rules of conduct, or our code of conduct. Those are some of the ideas for titles we have. That's how you can submit your application. Very easy to sign up on the website. You just click in the top right corner, make an account, verify it, and then you can make some posts. If you want to talk about all things PAX Day in a forum settings, you can also do that on the website. You just click on PAX Day, and here is general PAX Day forum threads or discussions, they're called on here. So you can start a new discussion about anything PAX Day related. We will probably document a lot of clan happenings on the website as well, so that we have documentation of the things that happen, such as alliances and things of that nature. But we're going to be fleshing a lot of this out as the time goes on. I need to think of 2 more ranks to put in the diplomatic branch. Right here after secretary and right around counselor. But that is going to wrap up this live stream and this episode of PaxCast. Let me know what you guys think about all of the ranks and everything. Join the Discord, sign up. We're going to have a lot of fun on the 18th. I look forward to seeing you all there. And until next time, I've been your host, Voidlock. I don't know what happened to TK Seaton, but we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.